Okay, hey, Dave Newman with RX Smart Gear here with 𝗦𝗵cie, our lead trainer, lead demo. And we want to go over a great drill that we've recently developed and have been vetting it out and love it, okay? So everybody is very familiar with the old-fashioned penguin tap drills, right? Nate, show them the old penguin if people don't know. These are for double under progression. Perfect, yeah, penguin taps, been around forever. Great drill for lack of something different to do that gives you an idea of how to explode off the ground and a double rotation for a double under, obviously. So we've used it a ton in the past, and if we don't have anything nearby, then we'll resort to that as a last resort. But now we have some better, what we feel are better drills that are a little bit more challenging and require more skill, require more concentration, and are a better reflection of what a double under is like. And when we introduce this, our whole proposition is that we really want people to start using these drills as a nice substitute for doing double unders at a 1-to-1 ratio. So if people have really good single unders and they're solid there, they're ready to start their progression for double unders, and double unders come up in a wad, well, rather than just flail away and beat the tar out of themselves attempting double unders when they're not ready yet, we would recommend that you do these drills as a 1-to-1 ratio, and you're going to get all the benefits, all of the explosiveness, the tempo, the timing, coordination, all those great things that you get that are very, very different from a single to a double, okay? This is something we're not selling. You go down to Home Depot and you get this stuff called PEX, P-E-X, right? It's just, it's in the same section with all the plumbing and PVC, and basically there are a couple different diameters. This is the 1/2-inch diameter, which is nice and light. It's a little bit flimsier, which is okay, all right? There's a 3/4 inch, which is a little bit thicker, a little bit more rigid. Okay, we kind of doctored this one up to make it a little bit more fun, all right? You can also get a 1/2-inch dowel. They have these pre-cut to 48 inches long. You can get something right around a 1/2 inch. The dowels ran $1.85 for one length, okay? So for under $4, you can get 2 of these. The PEX will come in you can get it in a 10-foot length for just over $5. Right, and you can get a few sections out of it, okay? So basically, Nate's going to show you how this works. Toe tap drills. The idea is very much the same as the penguin drill, except when you're airborne now, you've got to try and tap the top of your shoes. I always say tap the top of your shoelaces is what I'm shooting for, because I want to try and reinforce people keeping their toes down when they're airborne, so then you're just lightly tapping the top of the shoelaces. So Nate, give a demonstration of that. Awesome. Great. How about let's go profile view so you guys can see. Great. I love it. So let's try with these other models. Let's see, a little bit, this one's a little bit heavier, a little bit more rigid, so it might change that tempo a little bit. Perfect. Let's go side view. Perfect. So let's talk about what we just watched and how that translates to what's going to happen in a double under. Obviously, he's got that nice big explosion. He wants to give himself time in the air, so he has time to make the double tap. What Nate was doing was really doing a good job of keeping his hands in position, not letting them move around or fly around, or obviously we're not going to go wide, which is very, very prevalent when learning double unders. What we noticed when doing this is that, give me a profile. Yep. What we noticed when Nate's doing it is that it really reinforces him keeping his elbows behind him, which is great, but it also tends to pull your hands back a little further than what we would prefer when you actually have a jump rope in your hands. We really like hands to be at the front of the pockets. That's a more ideal position. So this drill kind of tweaks you a little bit and pushes the hands behind him a little bit, which is okay. Knowing that going in, I would rather have hands positioned back rather than wide, or rather than too far out front. Okay, so that's really important for us. But just knowing that that's what it's kind of inducing that posture. But what's great about it is that you really have to concentrate, would you say? I mean, I know we've all tested this out a ton, and you really get the explosion, and you got to focus on that downward stroke, and that's also what we're looking for with the jump rope. You really are only concerned about the downward stroke to accelerate the rope in that fourth quadrant. But that's what we're looking at, is that downward stroke. And getting the rope to accelerate under your toes. Really, the rest of the way around your body is you're just keeping tension. So we love this drill. These are cut down. The PEX we cut down to 3-foot sections. The dowels, let's try it with the dowels. We didn't do it with that. The dowels, those come at a 4-foot, and we didn't cut these. We're just going to show you that you can just grab them right off the shelf and you could use them. You're going to see Nate's going to have some excess length sticking out the back. Perfect. And profile. Good. And when you're done, just freeze there for me. And freeze. So one thing, lastly, that I want to point out that is really key about why we like this drill is that you'll notice that on each time that Nate impacts the ground, right, after he makes his double tap, when he impacts the ground, he holds the end of the sticks away from his feet just a little bit, right? There's that little slight pause. And then when he takes off, he's back to tapping again. And that replicates what you do with a jump rope. Every time you have to make that rebound, you'll hear that little slowdown in the rope. And what's key is that Nate's hands aren't moving out of position. They're just lifting up a little bit, right? And then he takes off and then back down again. And where we see a lot of people fail is when they drop to make their rebound, their hands circle out of position. And then they whip it back down and do the double. And then when they make impact again, their hands fly way up out of position. So watch Nate, now that we pointed that out. Watch how Nate does that. He just lifts them out of the way, but his hands don't move. You'll also notice Nate's got his fingertip down on the tip of the rod. And that's just something he prefers to do. We're not necessarily promoting that. We don't really promote that with a jump rope handle. But given that this is a longer article that he's trying to gain control over, and the thing is, Nate can jump like nobody else can jump, so I'm not going to correct him on that. If you're working with a new athlete that's trying to develop good technique and pattern, you might want to say, hey, try it without that. Do it with, do it without, but we're not going to carry that over to a jump rope. So it's important to know that using these other drills to build the skill, there's going to be a lot of carryover and a lot of takeaway, and sometimes there are things that you don't necessarily want to bring into the actual skill. And as a coach, that's your job to identify those things and make sure that you talk about them, okay? And then everybody's on the same page. So, toe tap drills, Home Depot, 1/2-inch dowel, 1/2-inch PEX or 3/4-inch PEX. Cut it down to about 3 foot is a good length, and there's your scale. Get to it, help those people out. Crush some double unders.